Hello world, welcome to Champions Online Build Showcase. First off, this is totally not a leveling build. The thought behind this build was that Open Palm Strike is super awesome looking, and it doesn't suck. It does kinda look fiery-ish when you charge it up, even though it doesn't do any fire damage. Plus, why not have a build revolving around angry fists of flaming stuff? Flames are fun. Thanks to invisible weapons, I can use heavy weapons to fit the theme better. Heavy weapons have both crushing and fire damage, so that works well with angry flamey fists. Plus, guard looks super awesome when you don't have this sword in your hands. It's kind of like you're just gonna block everything with your bare hands. Although I was skeptical of the fire aura that you can buy in the cash shop, and it would kind of suck if I couldn't have like the awesome flaming fisty part of an angry flaming fisting build. The screenshots, not very good representation of the auras. It actually looks pretty cool. Well, most of the fire aura looks pretty cool. The full body flame, not so much, but everything else looks nice. Maybe not the head too much either. So I was happy that it actually looked decent so that I could complete my flaming fisting tune. I don't have much to say about the gearing for this tune. I just kinda did like a standard heroics and rank 5 mods. Being that it's a build full of punching, I just went strength, con, and intelligence. Nothing that's too terribly hard to get your hands on, or is super expensive. I mean, rank 5 mods are everywhere. They practically fall out of the sky. With strength as the primary super stat, I get knocked a little bit less. I didn't bother with aggressor since I have heroics, and the only offense I have on gear is the 17 points in the secondary offense slot. 20% of 17 is sucky, so I wouldn't ever bother. In fact, all of those are pretty much crappy anywhere in the talent tree, unless you have Justice Gear, which is pretty much the only exception. The Justice Gear set gives you 147 to offense, which means aggressor no longer is a big waste of points. You could always output an impact core instead of a gambler's into your primary offense gear, but that's not going to ever happen most of the time. I think you get 67 from a rank 7 impact core. I don't know, maybe if I was making a tank and had Justice Gear, I would totally shove an impact core and a gambler's in my Justice Gear. And then I'd have like a whole bunch of offense and defense. And aggressor wouldn't suck anymore. Anyway, it's not quite the typical Juggernaut build since I didn't go with Warden and Vindicator. I decided to go with Warden and Guardian instead. I know it's not like a huge difference. It still has pretty decent defense because Juggernaut and Fortified Gear ×2, so that's nice. Tenacious isn't a bad choice if you go with Warden plus Vindicator, especially if you're tanking, because it gives you up to 50 offense, which, goes into the offense-defense loop. And you actually get hit a lot of the time even if you weren't tanking, so it's not a terrible choice. And for more damage, Brawler is a nice choice. Warden plus Brawler is nice. I didn't heavily stat anything too much. I have more Constitution than Strength or Intelligence, but it's not like 100 or more, it's just like 40 or so more. But, more Constitution just means more defense, which is nice too. But I felt that my build was tanky enough that I didn't have to go all in with all 6 Constitution mods. Elusive actually does work in the Warden tree, unlike the Dexterity equivalent. I did do a little bit of Dex talenting, and ended up with a crit chance of around 25%, which isn't bad, considering I have pretty much no dex anywhere else. I have all of 50 dexterity, and then everything else is just crit chance from gear. And of course, being strength mastery, I don't have to worry about crit severity since it's over 100%. You can actually pick up ultimates really low But you have to do something first. I think you have to complete Thrakiel's Temple and possibly the Vibora Bay Apocalypse. And then it unlocks the ability that you can take ultimates at any level for all of your characters instead of having to wait until you're level 35. And I picked up Unleashed Rage because I didn't want to have to put in a crappy filler power, and I really wanted Hawk's Talons because it looks really fun. I went with Night Warrior. I'm kind of partial to Night Warrior, but it does buff both crushing and the fire damage. Well, it just buffs everything equally, so there's that. And that means that my Earth Splitter isn't like half-assed buffed. It also makes fully charging Open Palm Strike a little bit faster, and of course it has some nice damage penetration. Guarding with your hands is super duper manly even if you're a woman, so there's no reason to say no to that. Block doesn't really matter, it just looks awesome because you block with your hands. I mostly went with Earth Splitter because it does have that whole punching the ground, leaving a trail of flames to your enemies, and then they go knocking up in the air, which is always funny. I do like knockups, I don't tend to like knockbacks, even though Open Palm Strike is a knockback. But mostly I use it for, one, it looks awesome, and two, when you fully charge Open Palm Strike, it does get that nice little bonus against knock-resistant targets, so it's a great way to take out bosses. And of course it's a knock, so you get in range attacks for it. Earth Splitter isn't terribly powerful, but it does have the crowd control aspect, because nothing's going to hit you if it's flying up in the air. Nothing's going to hit anybody else if it's flying up in the air. Although it is easy to tap spam Earth Splitter and have enemies flying up higher than a melee toon can attack, which, okay, that's kind of bad, but then they're going to fall to the ground and it's going to be funny. And of course Open Palm Strike, which is super duper awesome power that looks awesome and doesn't suck, because it does good damage. Not like one of those really awesome looking powers that's full of sadness and failure when you actually use it and you're like, oh, this power is sad. I don't want to use it anymore. Unfortunately, tap spamming it won't give enrage stacks because the knock doesn't kick in until you charge it for at least half a second. And by the time you're charging it for half a second, you might as well just charge the whole thing. Although it's kind of not terribly bad if you want to, hit something with a powerful attack, like finishing off an enemy, but you don't want it to go flying just in case. You can just tap spam, Open Palm Strike a few times. It does actually have a pretty quick charge on it, so that's not so bad. I don't normally like charge-up powers because they just feel too long in an action-y game. But this one's pretty good. Did I mention it looks awesome? I mean, there's really no better reason than it looks totally awesome. Fire Stake isn't needed, I just think it looked kind of cool and I didn't really have any other powers I wanted for this build. It should buff the fire part of Earth Splitter, and it is funny to watch enemies like stand there and wave around because they're on fire. And of course you're bringing a snake to life by punching in the air with your flaming fists of angriness. I may be a little biased because I like melee a lot more than I like ranged. This is definitely a fun build. Even when I was watching the videos later on, I was like, oh, that looks like so much fun. Who doesn't like an awesome flaming Open Palm Strike or punching the ground and having your fiery fury pop people into the air? But you should always knock responsibly. Don't be that guy that knocks enemies all the way across the screen behind a crate all the time in every single alert. Don't be that guy. Don't do it. However, Open Palm Strike is super hilarious when you're soloing because then it doesn't matter. Although running after stuff sucks, it's just really funny to do a strike and then just watch everything fly all over the place. Or you can use it to finish off an opponent. They'll just fly and be dead before they hit the ground. That's always fun. Can't go wrong with that, how can you?